Alright, so I have concerns about Killian Hayes. I've had concerns about him last year. I have concerns about him this year. It's only been 2 games, but it's been a really bad 2 games. It's been really bad. Anytime you see 1 point on 9% from the field and they're playing more than 15 minutes a night, it's concerning. That's the best way you can put it. And, you know, it's early. He's only played 28 games in his career. He's had injuries, obviously. But I still am concerned. But before I continue, if you're new and you like basketball, really think you would love this channel. If you haven't already, like, subscribe, hit notification bell, notify whenever I release a video. I make videos that take elements from film essays and apply them to basketball. Also make videos just talking about the NBA, like this video right here. You know, just off script, really authentic. That's my real thoughts. So if either of those things interest you, this is the channel for you. But let's try to get 100 likes on this video so YouTube will recommend it to others. But with that being said, let's move on. Because Killian Hayes hasn't been good. In fact, he's been downright terrible, horrible, no good, very bad. And you can look at the box scores, which I had to subject myself to this. So I'm going to make you view this as well. For someone playing as many minutes as he has, this is... How do I put this in a nice way? Well, there isn't really a nice way to put it. It's awful. Yeah, I'm sorry. It's awful. And watching the games is worse. I've watched the tape for these games. Ironically, I watched both of these games for Chicago because Chicago's a very fun team. Zach LaVine's very fun. Lonzo Ball's very fun. You know, it's just a very fun up-and-coming team. And Killian Hayes just stood out. You know, I will say this. It's not completely all bad, even though for the most part it is all bad. Because the passing is still good. Like, the passing is still there with him. So, no, that's something. And it's something that I expected this thing, because passing was one of his biggest skills entering the league. But I'll be honest with you, I didn't expect the scoring to be this much of a struggle early on. I expected it to be somewhat of a struggle. And I do think part of this is the injuries playing a factor as well. Because, you know, first 26 games of his career, if he started the season like that, you know, and those at like 7, 3, and 5 to like the first 26 games of his career, I would be okay with it. And I still am. Like, I'm not saying I'm not. But, you know, the progressiveness wasn't there. And granted, he didn't really play until later on in his rookie year anyway, because he got injured at the start of the season. So, I am willing to give this time, but I can't just not voice my concerns about this. Because when you're drafted 7th overall, and the position he was, you're expected to be a contributor as a scorer. And I thought he was. And that's what made him one of the better players in that draft in my eyes, was he can contribute as a scorer. He averaged 11 points per game in a pro league before the NBA. So, I was like, okay, there's something here that he can grow as a scorer, and he just hasn't. And the shocking thing about it for me is the confidence just isn't there. When he was playing overseas, there was a confidence in him. He was a bit held back by coaching staff because of just the politics behind how those things work overseas, and just the way the game is played over there. But, like, really, it's just not there anymore. He's just not as confident. And I hope it's something that's just, like, a bit of, like, a fluky problem, and he'll be back and more confident soon. But part of me wonders if it's the pressure of trying to live up to the 7th overall pick, and not wanting to make mistakes and things like that. I also think the added pressure of Cade Cunningham being drafted maybe getting to him. I don't know. These are all speculation things, by the way. I'm not confirming any of them. These are just things in my mind that I'm thinking about. Like, and the thing like about this is I can't confirm any of this, to say the least. But there is something like that is noticeably different about him from pre-NBA to now. And it's something I just didn't expect. You know, I expected shooting problems. Because, like, this is fine. His rookie season, to be quite honest with you, given the circumstances, is fine. But Summer League was concerning to me. He still refuses to drive right. And I'm not saying he has to be good driving right, because he's not. He isn't, but he's refused to. And remember the episode of Scooby-Doo where, you know, they face off against that headless specter? Remember in the beginning of the episode, they get to, like, the split in the road, and they have to decide, do you go right or left? And, you know, going right was the longer way. No, going left was the longer way, but it was like a safer way, and then going right was the short way, but you go by a haunted house. And obviously, Daphne and Velma, they wanted to go to the right because it was quicker. Shaggy and Scooby wanted to go to the left because the left didn't have a haunted house. The point is, Killian Hayes is scared to drive right. It's something you see a lot of young left-hand dominant players deal with. You know, Marvin Bagley III struggled with it. We've seen how he's been in his NBA career, but it is something he struggled with. RJ Barrett somewhat struggled with it. But really with both of those guys, it felt like, okay, yeah, they do struggle with it, but like they aren't completely afraid. Killian seems to be completely afraid of it, which is concerning to me. Again, the passing is there. Again, it's the one thing that has translated, so I do think there's hope there. The defense has also been really solid. I love his defense for his age, given the circumstances and the injuries. I think that's been very promising. So I do think there's a place for him in the league. But to live up to, like, again, top 7 billing, you're going to have to learn to score. And he's going to have to learn to play off ball as well, which he really hasn't shown up to this point in his career, because you're going to be playing alongside Cade Cunningham. Cade Cunningham is somebody that demands the basketball a lot, or will be someone that demands the basketball a lot. I don't think he's somebody that's a ball hog or anything, but, you know, he's somebody that will, because he's just so good. And Killian's going to have to learn to play off of that. There's an upside to this, because of the fact that with Killian, you know, he'll get easier looks playing alongside Cade, because Cade can draw gravity in as a player. So getting easier looks could lead to the field goal percentage up, could lead to the confidence going back up. The only other problem with this is Killian really, again, hasn't shown he can play off ball. He's not a good shooter either. And it's just odd just to see, because he was so fun as a prospect coming out. You know, he was somebody that top 5 on my board. He was somebody that, you know, I legit thought could go like top 3 even, depending on what team was going to pick. And he just hasn't really been on the path you would expect to at this point in year 2. And it sucks knowing that injuries play such a big factor in this, because injuries are out of his control for the most part. But, you know, these are things that just concern me. I think he can bounce back. I don't know if he will, but I definitely think there's a good possibility that he does. That's all I'll say about that. And it's way too early to give up on somebody after only 28 games in the NBA. Things can get better. You know, guys aren't expected to be good in their first 28 games. Especially when the injuries that are playing a factor into someone like Killian. And I'm not going to give up on him yet. But things are going to have to improve sooner rather than later. He's going to have to learn to play with Cade sooner rather than later. And, you know, I think he has a future in the league. I don't know if it's going to be with Detroit, but only time will tell with stuff like that. I'm willing to admit when I'm wrong. Like, I definitely think this is something we could look back in a few years and be like, man, you really overreacted to that one, didn't you? Because Killian's just going to be an awesome player maybe down the line. That's a possibility. Like, yeah, this could turn out to be a bad take. All my videos have a chance of being that. Because it is very early to say anything set in stone. But at the same time, I just wanted to voice my concerns about this because it was something very noticeable when I watched them play, and when I see something very noticeable, I like to talk about it. But thank you for watching this one. If you made it to this point, I have another video coming out later on today, because I do want to do 2 videos today. But with that being said, have a nice day.